What's up, guys? A little review tonight of the trades today. Like I said to start, my goal was to just focus on the best of the best and not really trade everything there was to trade. I had a little bit of a couple days or a week worth of just trading everything and just really getting off focus. And not necessarily that it was bad, it just like I'm doing way too much work when I could just focus on one or two. And I end up missing all these, great opportunities. And so even today is a great example where I was kind of focused on GSL and I really wanted to nail this trade. And my thought process was potentially off of a washout off the open. And, we got that and it started to kind of rebound, and then that was it. It just stuffed. And it peaked out a few times and it pretty much unwound from there. So I spent my time focused today on a low quality trade. We've been talking a lot about that since Traders for a Cause. I really like the thought process that D4 kind of brought to the table as far as, what type of stocks are you trading? And I've kind of put that into what I do and kind of rate what kind of stocks things are. If it's a low quality play, such as DXR, then there's no reason why I should be committing, one, a lot of capital, two, a lot of time, and three, putting a lot of conviction in the fact that, it should go higher. It can go 10 to 12 or whatever. You know what? 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100 are actually going to not do the whole squeeze thing. They're not going to do the whole black swan type moves. And so if you focus and put a lot of energy towards these types of plays, then you're going to be wasting your time and missing out on a lot of other great trades. So the point here is, DXR today, I had some great trades. A little bit of a chase just into this move here. Got some in there before sevens and a little bit more. But then I have rules. A newsletter came, and I actually thought they were done. Typically, they're done by 11 a.m., but they ended up getting in there. So, the first move was a nice jump, and they ended up holding and looking to add. So when they're looking to add, things stay strong because they didn't just flip it right back. So, and this is a newsletter that typically holds, on average, maybe 2 to 4 minutes. So whenever that happens, I call it toxic flow. I call it a toxic type of newsletter flow. There are other newsletters that are non-toxic in the sense that later on in the day, even I made mention of a newsletter that came in, but I even used those words and I said it's not typically a toxic newsletter, meaning they don't just flip right back to their to all those that chase the entries. And so I use that and I actually just traded it naturally as I saw fit. And what I mean by that is I don't just go ahead and smoke the bids out as soon as the newsletter comes in. So there was a decent couple little trades on this. It was very, very difficult though to build any type of position or any conviction, just because number one, there's no reason for it to really run. They need to raise some money. They're ready to go. It could happen at any time. So right there, that does create a great short thesis. So if the trend does hold, then there's definitely going to be some shorts to squeeze out. But what's aggravating is a move like this where it starts to break out and then you do everything right and you sell some into the ramps and then it just washes out a buck 30 on you, and it's annoying. And you don't really get that with a more natural trade or a higher quality trade, because higher quality trades carry real money volume, real action, and it's not just kind of based on a newsletter or two. So at any rate, great trade, great action. Basically traded the washout, the ramp, the washout, the ramp. A little bit in here, I ended up taking it off, and then I traded it again into the close there. So that was good. AMD, this was a reactive trade. Basically the same thing that I said yesterday. When a market is in free fall, or when it's breaking out and it's got 300, 400, 500 points of range on a regular basis, AMD, Facebook's, Apple's, Amazon's, Netflix, you name it, Nvidia, they are no longer, their own trader, their own, unless they have news or unless they have earnings that day, they might have a little bit of a different type of trend. But for the most part, in my opinion, they're just trading vehicles based off of SPY. And if you go back and look at the trades the last couple of days, I mean, they're pretty much in sync for the most of the part, most of the day. There are some, for example, like Twitter, that might have some type of relative strength. Like yesterday, it had a little bit of relative strength as the market's coming in. Sure, it pulled back, but for the most part, it held its gains. And as you saw, it extended those gains today. So those are the types of things I look for. But like I explained yesterday on the video, AMD was a washout type of play off the open for me. So I went ahead and bought the washout, and it ended up being a decent trade for me. And of course, it would have been nice to get back in there. I think the only times that I probably would have got back in here is after I went back under over VWAP and started to hold, or over here late day after 2:30 where it started to trend up. So we're going to have some more good action here. I think that Facebook, given the lift, maybe we'll see 1850s or even higher. I don't really see any reason why this thing can't go back up towards the 19s and 20s, at least in the short term, squeeze out some of the shorts that got a little bit aggressive, and then maybe come back towards the 17s here in a short while. So that was that. GE offered a great trade, obviously major volume, 344 million. This is an example of me using my time watching a low quality trade for the rebound when I should have been watching a very high quality opportunity such as GE. My thought process was whatever it did in the pre-market, it was going to reverse into the open. So, this would have been a perfect trade, and, it was missed because of the GSL. I was watching it, waiting. So, either way, nice little unwind, and I ended up getting short into the 1050 range in this area right over here. So I kind of chased it down, and I was hoping for rebounds, and I was basically going to use this little peak here that I put in a top at 1070s, 1075s. I was going to use that as a potential add until it unwound. So I was expecting a move like this right over here, and I was hoping to kind of slowly put some on and then fade it, but I didn't get into really any good size. I got 1050s, and it went down to about 1010, and then it came back up here. So I didn't want to get it caught in a reversal, so I went ahead and just took it off, and I said I'll wait till it resets back up. I ended up leaning on it a few more times, but nothing to shout home about. But other than that, ARLP, I had this one hit scan, nice little unwinder scan. You can see that there was a VWAP seller throughout the day. So it started to fade off, and I went ahead and just started to lean on it. And, this was just a reactive trade based on what I saw. So as it was pulling back, and I ended up joining it just to kind of get a feel in there, see how it reacted and whatnot, see if it was jumpy, see if it rebounded. And I like the way that it stuffed. It faded off and stuffed right into this level. So I went ahead and added. And this is all based off of kind of, I guess, a little bit of an intuition based on what I saw, based on how level 2 looked, based on how it reacted. So when it came back up and it stuffed, and it kept on trying to rebound and fail. So I was basically anticipating that it was going to wash out under 18. So I was thinking in my mind 1770s, 1750s as a possibility. So you can see I was kind of prepared for that and covered into the washout. I probably would have been all covered here. I went to 1717 just about maybe a millisecond too late. And then it swiped back up, and I said, you know what, I'm happy with this trade. I had already seen a nice swipe back up towards, maybe 40, 50 cents up. So I said, this is good. I'll It was a trend join in the first place, and I didn't want to get caught in a reversal. I took advantage of the potential of the 18, the whole number washout, and then that was it. I was just, hit and quit and leave the trade. So, there was a little bit more, but the only other thing I would point out here is just this reversal setup. And you can see, rebound, starts to pull back, holds a higher low, and then it breaks the prior top. So this is a nice little setup, and this is what I kind of look for. Same thing with GE and all that kind of stuff, where you don't want to try to catch the bottom. Sure, you can into washouts, and sometimes that works, but occasionally these are the types that are gonna take all your money. But this is what I look for: higher lows, and then look for it to break that prior top. So this is something I might anticipate small, and then add into the winner. But as you can tell, nice little rebound. But I did not partake in that. And then other than that, Facebook, I just traded some after hours. I like the action. This thing is just crazy. I mean, the range is unbelievable. But I shorted some before the close, and then I just covered before the close. So that's what those are. Pretty much a scratch trade. And I was driving home, and they came out, and I got back to my computer. And I had kind of a plan that if it washed out on the news, I was planning on playing it long, just because it's obviously been beat down, and whether or not that's a good game plan or whatnot, who knows. But my thought process was a washout. I wanted to be long, and this wasn't a size trade. I mean, it added up because I ended up nailing it pretty well, but it wasn't a size type trade, and there was 3 entries here. There's 2 little arrows here, but started in, added a little bit more, took some off, took some more off. I got short, covered some, got short, and so I ended up having, I think it was a 149, either 20 or 149.40 average overall short. And I was down about $1 here or so. Again, I wasn't sized, but I also had just made a bunch of points on the way up. So, $1 versus, I don't even know what this was, 141 to 146. So versus $5-6, $1 is, no big deal. But anyway, so I let it kind of ramp out and slam down. And then their conference call was starting at 5 p.m. So that was another reason why I didn't want to be sized, because as you guys know, on these calls, especially last earnings, I mean, this thing it had pulled back 10, and then it just did another $10 or $15, and I know a lot of people got smoked. And so whenever I do trade after hours, it's never a ton of size, just in case, you never know. So at any rate, I had the 149.20, 149.40s average, and then it cracked. So right away, I want to go ahead and lock some in. So I missed that little washout, but I made about $4 a share there. I made about 6 or so, and then maybe about 7 or 8 on this. So ended up being a great trade, and then it cracked and rallied back, and this is exactly why I don't trade any ridiculous size after hours. But overall, fun trade, good trade, and that was that. So goal for tomorrow will be just to really focus in on some of these runners that happened today, and just kind of look for the relative weakness or relative strength for some of its peers. We've got a lot of action across the board, and it's really a trader's market right now. So, a lot of times I like to look for the big picture moves from, the beginning of the day to the end of the day. But, a lot of times there's those V-shaped recoveries, and I was talking about it yesterday with Tesla, where, you get that even today, where it finally unwinds and it just comes all the way back up. But more importantly, yesterday, where it's a little bit more likely to trade it, but it finally washes out, comes all the way back. Then it finally washes out, comes all the way back. So it's just that type of market that you're in that you have to be aware of, and that's that. So we'll catch you in the room tomorrow. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. I will be doing a webinar tomorrow, a little bit after 8 p.m. because it's Halloween. So I just want to give myself a little bit of a buffer. But like I said, I'll catch you in the rooms. Leave a comment if you have questions, and I am here to help.